Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 4, which is on medians and altitudes of triangle. So, first up, we have definition of a median. A median is a line that connects an angle to the midpoint of the opposite side. So it cuts from that angle down to a midpoint, and it is a pretty handy thing just because midpoints are really handy to know, as they do tell us the middle. So this point right here is the middle between the side BC. So let's go down here. We know FE, we want to find FE if we know TE is 8. So we know this little piece from T to E is 8. And I'm assuming that is a median based off of what we just wrote as a definition. So if that's the median, then I know that's the middle. And if that's the middle, like the straight perfectly in the middle, then that means this other half has to be the same as the first half that we know, which means it is also 8. So then I answer my question, well, I want to know FE. So FE is equal to the length of the whole side, which is 8 plus 8, so 16. Circle. Next one. This one I want to find GF. If TF is 6.3. So again, 6.3 is here. Again, this is half, I'm assuming, because that's median, which means this other half is also probably 6.3. Which means the whole line is going to be GF 6.3 plus another 6.3, which ends up being 12.6 is GF. Great. And now a little bit more algebra. For these notes, or for this little piece, we're going to use a little bit of room, so make sure you're writing neat and following along. GE is going to be 3x plus 5. And I know IE, so this little piece from I to E, not to G, this piece, is x plus 6. So if that's x plus 6, then that again means this other half is also x plus 6. So then I'm pretty much doing segment addition like I've been doing this whole time, but this time I'm trying to solve for x, so I need to substitute in a lot of stuff. I know the whole length of the line is 3x plus 5. I know the two pieces that make up the whole line are x plus 6 and a second x plus 6. So I'll do piece plus piece equals the whole big piece. Then I combine like terms and I can solve for x. So there's nothing to really combine on the left-hand side, so I'll just bring that down. On the right-hand side, I'll combine x with x, which makes 2 x's, and I'll combine 6 with 6, which makes 12. Then I can solve for x. I'm going to minus 2x over to the other side, so that's 1x plus 5 equals 12, and then we'll minus the 5 over, and x equals 7. And it just asks us to find x, so once we're done finding x, we are good to go. For the next one, I want to find CQ, which is this half. That's what I want to know, but I know that CR is x, and I know that CQ is 2x minus 6. Well, again, these are medians. Like, this is a median, which means it does cut that half in perfect half. So I know that those two halves are going to be the same, and that is my setup to solve for x. X equals 2x minus 6. I'm going to minus the 2x over. You might do this a different way, but this is the way I'm going to do it. X minus 2x is negative 1x equals negative 6. And I can't really leave the negative 1 there. I want positive x, not negative x. So I'm going to divide by negative 1 on both sides. And all that really does is change the sign from negative to positive. So now x is just equal to regular 6. And now I answer the question, well then what is CQ? I take my x, I plug it in. So 2 times 6 minus 6. 2 times 6 is 12, so 12 minus 6 is 6. So CQ is 6. X is 6 and CQ is 6. Okay, next up we have altitudes. Altitudes are lines that connect from an angle to the opposite side. And make right angles. These lines are straight up and down, and when we have lines that are straight up and down and make right angles with other lines, we call those perpendicular. So these are perpendicular lines. Oh. Okay, so we can see all of the examples of altitudes that we have. We have this one, you can see it goes straight up and down and makes a right angle. We have this one, makes a right angle. This one makes a right angle, but this time on the outside of the triangle. And this one makes a right angle. Now these we would use when doing the area of a triangle. This is essentially the height of the triangle. So when you're doing like 1/2 base times height for area, that's the height, but we call it the altitude. Okay, next we have the altitude theorem. This is the theorem that says that the altitude creates two similar right triangles. Now, we haven't learned about similarity yet, so don't stress too much about the definition of what similar means. It pretty much just means that the triangles are like the same shape, but maybe a little different size. So, the steps to do this are going to be a little bit different. It's not just going to be as easy as setting up an equation necessarily. So first we have our triangle, so we can see our altitude is right here, and it's splits our opposite side into two pieces, 4 and 16. What we're going to do is we're going to take this triangle and we're going to separate it from the other triangle, which is this one. We'll go a different color. So here, and we created two different triangles based on what we had. We just cut it straight along the altitude. And then we're going to set up a proportion to solve. So we're going to say this side divided by this side is going to be equal to this one divided by this one. So it kind of flip-flops. So you can see that 4 divided by x equals x divided by 16. And how you would solve this is by cross multiplication. And I sometimes call it like the butterfly method because you kind of draw like a butterfly when you cross multiply. So we're going to cross multiply. First we'll do x times x, which makes x squared, equals, the equals always goes in between your cross multiplication, 4 times 16, which I'm not sure what that is off the top of my head. I think 64. Yeah, that seems right. Then I'm going to square root both sides to get x alone, and I get x equals the square root of 64, which is 8. And then that's it. So let's try that again with these two other examples. So again, I'm going to separate these triangles. Here's one of them. This one's 2 and x. The other one, this one's x and 18. Here's the right, here's the right. Then I can set up my proportion. I'm going to do 2 over x for this one, 2 over x, equals, for the other one, we flip-flop. We do x first over 18. So x over 18. And then again, I cross multiply, make that butterfly, x times x squared. 2 times 18 is 36. Equals goes in between. Equals always goes in between. That's probably one of the most common mistakes people do. They like don't put the equals anywhere. Equals in the middle. Then I can square root both sides, and I get x equals 6. Okay, one more time. This one is going to look a little wonky. looks like we go like this. So this is a right angle, not a very good right angle, but this is x and 4. And then we have a second triangle like that, and this is 9, and this is x. So again, I can just go and set up my proportion. We'll do 4 over x for the first one, 4 over x, equals, for the second one, you just have to flip them. So x over 9, x over 9. Again, we'll cross multiply. So x squared equals, cross multiply, 4 times 9 is 36. Then I can square root both sides again and get x equals 6. So it's a little tricky to set up, but after that, the solving wasn't too bad. Just square rooting. Great. And then here we have a bunch of examples, and it's kind of grainy, of special right triangle segments. So these are all the ones we've learned. So we have the perpendicular bisector, which was that perpendicular line that cut the opposite side in half, which is different than an altitude, because an altitude is a perpendicular line, but it doesn't cut the side in half. It cuts it just however it'll be to make it perpendicular. Then we have the angle bisector, which is a line that cuts an angle in half. And then we had the median, which was a line that cuts a side in half, the opposite side. So that's really the difference between all three. Perpendicular bisector cuts sides in half too, but it also makes that perpendicular line, which is the more important part. And that's it for our notes. We do have our quiz coming up, so make sure you are studying and prepared and ready to go for your quiz. And I'll see you all later. Bye.